Hello, my name is Mick. I'm very pleased to meet you. Thank you for watching this channel. Thank you for liking and subscribing. You can also follow me on Twitter X at MoviesTVMad and on Instagram MoviesTVMadX. I don't keep an eye on how many followers I gain or subs I gain on here or how many I lose. I want you to do me a big favour. If you are going to add me on Instagram MoviesTVMadX, or you're going to follow me on X Twitter, or you're already following me on X Twitter, let's just say you've just subbed to me, right? And you follow me on the other platforms. I want you to tag me and say, hey Mick, I've just subscribed to you on your YouTube. It will help me keep a track of what's going on here on my YouTube, and I'll know you. I know that you're a friend, that you're a supporter. It will be cool, and I'll like it when you post, and I'll retweet it so everyone can see you, right? And maybe you'll get a few follows. Maybe we can help each other. So if you can do that, that would be great. So James Gunn has been talking to fans about Superman Legacy, and he has confirmed there will be no trailer for Superman Legacy this year. This is nothing to be upset about or triggered about, by the way, because Joker Folie à Deux didn't have a trailer this year. I did predict on this very platform that Todd would probably release a trailer a year before Joker Folie à Deux was released. I was wrong. As I always say, it's okay to be wrong. But we will get a trailer very soon, sooner rather than later, for Joker Folie à Deux, which is very exciting. And on this channel, we will be doing a proper reaction, a trailer reaction to Joker Folie à Deux and the Penguin show that I'm also really looking forward to. So no trailer for Superman Legacy, but I do expect lots more updates for Superman Legacy. They haven't officially announced any casting for Jor-El, Lara, Ma and Pa Kent quite yet, or even Perry White. So there's a lot of announcements to come from James Gunn in terms of Superman Legacy this year. They start filming, they start production in March. So very exciting year, as I said the other day on this very platform, to be a DC fan. It's okay that we've only got one film. We've still got Penguin, we've still got Joker, we've still got Creature Commando. So there's a lot to look forward to. But no Superman Legacy trailer this year. But that's interesting, isn't it? I mean, I'm not upset by this, but, you know, that means that you're not going to release a trailer for this movie this year. This movie, Superman Legacy, comes out in July of 2025. So, in essence, when will we get a trailer for Superman Legacy in 2025? That means we're going to get a trailer in the same year of release. Now, that's not a bad thing, but it depends when they release the trailer. Would we get one 6 months prior? In January of 2025, I think we would need to. But it's clear they're not going to start the marketing for this film till the year it's released. Am I a bit surprised by this? Well, listen, as we've already said, they don't start shooting this movie till March. Takes about 6 months to shoot a movie. In the old days it did anyway, but these days sometimes it only takes 3 or 4 months. So we start in March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Let's say at the very least everything's done and dusted by September. Post-production, all of that takes a little bit of a while. It doesn't take them long to put together a trailer if they want to. But it's pretty clear that James does not want to release a trailer for Superman Legacy till next year. But Superman Legacy is a very important film because it's the debut of James Gunn's DC Universe. And I would have thought at least maybe October, November, even December, releasing a trailer for this film would have been a good idea. Having the hype early for this film is very important. Because when you look at the history of the DCEU, the recent history, these films are not making money. Black Adam barely made 400 million. Just about made 400 million, just under. The rest of the movies made even less money than that. The only movies that have made bank recently for DC have been outside of the cinematic universe, which was the Batman, and prior to that, the Joker. One of the most profitable CBMs in CBM history, but nothing to do with a bottled, cinematic universe. So, in a way, I don't think this is problematic as such, but in a way, I am kind of surprised that they won't give us anything. Because it's interesting when Superman Returns did its first teaser trailer, because that movie was released in, 2006, but we got a teaser trailer in around December of 2005. Now, it didn't really help the box office. That film barely made 400 million, but I still think it's a better idea to start hyping this movie as soon as possible. I mean, the big moment this year, if it happens this year, as I say, is the announcement of the costume. The costume is really going to, it's Superman. You're going to see how relevant Superman still is, because people say Superman isn't relevant when you see the reveal of this costume. Everyone is going to have an opinion on this. Snyder fans are going to say their thing. We know what they're going to say, blah, blah, blah. You can forget about that opinion, because I love Snyder fans. I'm a Snyder fan myself, but I'm not a James Gunn anti at the same time. I constructively criticize James Gunn, and that's okay. That doesn't make me an anti. But there's going to be opinions about this. So, when you reveal that costume, that is hype. So the costume has to be loved by the right people. So who are the right people that you need to love the Superman costume? Well, you need die-hard DC fans to love it, and you need the general audience to say, yeah, that's a great costume. Because here's the thing, I don't think anyone really liked the Superman Returns costume. It grew on me because at the end of the day, it was bad for the actor, Brandon Routh. It made him look short. It took away all the muscular work he did, because he was pretty jacked. When he took his costume off, you could tell he was jacked. He wasn't as jacked as Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill was really, really jacked for Man of Steel. I think he was more jacked for Man of Steel than he was for BVS, if you ask me. But that costume was wrong on so many levels. If you forget the fact that it was tinted dark blue and dark red, but to be fair, Man of Steel was tinted dark blue and dark red. For some reason, filmmakers have gone away from the bright blue and red. You'd have to ask them why that is. I love the Man of Steel costume. I think it's stunning. But yeah, and when I saw that Superman Returns costume, I couldn't believe it. It wasn't good. The cape is dark red, far too short, far too short. The S symbol, far too small. I love Christopher Reeve's F-Shield because it goes round his muscular chest, right? It works. And I love Henry Cavill's S-Shield as well. I personally like the S-Shield on the cape. But we'll see what James Gunn and his costume designers have done. He claims it's going to be half original and half taken from the comics. I've always said for many, many years, why can't you just take a version of the costume from the comics, get your costume designers to do that? Because, filmmakers never want to use a distinct design from the comics. And I don't really understand that. I don't think that makes particular sense to me. But I am, like everyone, awaiting with bated breath the reveal of the costume. James Gunn has also clarified we will not see that costume before they start production. So I don't know when. Now, in terms of Man of Steel and when the costume was revealed, they took a picture when he's crouching by the safe when they were shooting that. Now, I can't remember when they actually revealed that. Was it after the shoot, during the shoot? I can't remember. But they still didn't reveal if he was wearing the red trunks with that picture. Because if you remember, by Henry crouching down, you couldn't see if he was wearing the trunks a lot. Now, for some people, whether Superman wears red trunks, it's important. And for some people, it's not. Where do I stand by this? I genuinely believe that Zack Snyder, as he said, tried to design a suit with his costume designer, Michael Wilkinson, with red trunks. He tried. But they just couldn't find one that didn't look campy. So they decided not to do that. Now, it's going to be very, very interesting what James Gunn decides to do here. Now, I'm not really passionate about having trunks or not. Again, the Snyder fans will go at Gunn if he gives Superman trunks. As I say, I don't care either way. I'm happy if it's with trunks, and I'm happy if it's without trunks. But my gut feeling, and as I've said earlier, it's okay to be wrong, but my gut feeling is this Superman costume will have trunks, because I think they're going to try and go with a very traditional type of Superman. I don't think James Gunn's Superman movie is going to be traditional. I don't. I believe that it's going to be very, very dark in places. I think you're going to be surprised what kind of film this is. He's already confirmed it will be light in places and dark in other places. That's absolutely fine with me. But I don't believe this is going to be the MCU movie full of gags. It will, of course, have gags. It's a James Gunn movie. But James Gunn movies have gags, but they can be very, very dark. Let's look at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which is one of the most darkest James Gunn CBMs. It is probably, Guardians 3 is dark. Guardians 3 is another great example, and we see what goes on in certain scenes in that movie as well. So James Gunn isn't afraid to make dark movies in their elements, not throughout, but he's not afraid of those dark tones. It's not about colour palettes. Colour palettes don't interest me. You can have a bright colour palette. You can have a dark colour palette. I don't care either way. Colour palettes are not something that particularly interests me. You can go either way with that. I don't care. It's totally fine. That's a director's choice as far as I'm concerned. And it's a bit like the trunks. I don't care either way. But I'm talking about a narrative tone. Narrative tones with James Gunn kind of switch up within his movies. If you look at Peacemaker, which was a streaming show, it could be very light, say that again, very light, and it could be funny at times, which again, Snyder fans mock, but it's okay to have comedy and be light at times. In your comic book movies and TV shows, it's fine. Smallville could be very, very dark sometimes, and then very, very light other times. It's okay. It's actually good to mix up your narrative tones. But I do believe that Superman Legacy is not the movie that some Snyder fans are claiming. Or Aaron Fisher, what's his name? Aaron Fisher or whatever his name is, the big James Gunn hater, the big Snyder fan, who's done very, very well on YouTube. Congratulations to you. Your hot takes and, your propaganda have really, really helped you. It's like the Truth 31. He keeps on going after Snyder fans and Zack Snyder with a lot of nonsense. And that's, he's done well for him. But the biggest lie about Truth 31 is his name. Because he doesn't speak a lot of truth, does he? Let's be honest about it. And as I've said before, I'm not here to be polarizing. I'm here to speak my truth. I'm not here to speak your truth or James Gunn's truth or Zack Snyder's truth or Dick Donner's truth or anyone's truth. I'm only here to speak mine. And you're welcome to give me your opinions. And that's how a democracy works, right? I have my views on my own platforms. I've always encouraged you guys and girls to start your own platforms. I think if you're not happy what you see here or on other platforms, start your own. I'd certainly support you if you let me know you've started something of your own. You've come in and supported me. It's only right. It will be absolutely disgusting if you're here supporting me, but you start your own platforms and I don't support you. So if you've got your own platforms, again, tag me on Twitter, tag me on Instagram, let me know. I will go follow you. Don't spam me and crap like that. Just let me know once. That's all I need. Anyway, so I don't believe that James Gunn's Superman Legacy is going to be this, bright, colourful MCU phase, phase 3 or 4 or whatever kind of movie. I think he's going to deal with the fact that people think Superman's boring for being too nice. So what he said in his description of the movie, he said, Superman, he's all about truth, justice in an American way. He's a good guy in a world that believes being good is bad. And I think Gunn is going to comment on that. And I think that's going to be very, very interesting. Because James Gunn I like the commentary in James Gunn films. You see, I can be positive or negative about him. It depends what we're talking about here. But I've said before, I'm ready to be open about what James Gunn is planning. If he's genuinely trying to plan a universe, I'm here. I'm here for it. I'm kind of excited for it. I'm still upset how Snyder was treated and how Henry Cavill was told he was coming back. Then he was removed, right? That upsets me, but I don't blame James Gunn for that situation. We have to be open, we have to be honest. And as DC fans, we're either DC fans or we're not DC fans. And I understand some people are here for one director or that director these days. I'm not here for any director, right? It's like when I was talking about my football club, Manchester United, yesterday. Sir Jim Ratcliffe, came to visit and I said, it's about time we back the club, not individuals. And that's where I am with my consumption of modern day entertainment. I'm not here for anyone but my own experience, right? Because I can only speak about my own experience. That's why I don't really talk about Rotten Tomatoes and aggregate meters, because they don't interest me. They're the views of other people. A review is the response from somebody else. And I spoke yesterday when I commented on a Variety piece that Christopher Nolan was talking about. He said that professional critics are very important with opinions coming from everywhere. But how can we trust professional critics these days, Chris? Are you saying my view is less important than a professional critic? Is that what you're saying here? That a professional critic is more important than the fans is? Are you afraid to hear the ordinary views of the consumer, Chris? I don't really understand what he's getting at there, because it's clear that professional critics are mostly corrupt these days. They know how to play the aggregate meter. They know what to say to get positive scores and negative scores. So how can I trust these people? Once we have responsible, reliable professional critics, Chris, then I agree with you. But modern day critics know jack shit about movies, and they judge movies on their own political ideology. Are they diverse enough? Was there enough black people? Was there enough pink people? Was there enough women? How were women, how were women portrayed? When I watch a film, I don't give a shit how a white person's portrayed, how a black person's portrayed, how a woman's portrayed. I just want to see a good fucking movie. I want you to be diverse. I want you to cast the best people. You cast the best people and use the best people on your film and your set and your crew, you will be diverse automatically. I discussed this yesterday. But anyway, forget all of that. So, I think people are going to be very surprised what Superman Legacy actually is. Now, in terms of James Gunn and this film, this is the biggest gamble of his career. Superman Legacy to James Gunn is what Titanic was to James Cameron. Because let's go back with Titanic. Nobody thought Titanic was going to be a success. We discussed this when I went back and gave you my thoughts on the movie last week. Nobody thought it was going to be a good movie. He was spending record-breaking money. He took a big risk. If that movie failed, James Cameron would be a joke today. Even though he did T2 and other great movies, and I don't think anyone would have given him the money to do, the movies that he's doing today, especially Avatar. He's spending a fortune of, Fox Disney's money, ain't he? And his own. But I love both those films personally. But that's what Superman Legacy is for James Gunn. It's as big a risk as Titanic was to James Cameron's reputation. Because if this film fails, James is finished. There will be no DC Universe. There will be no future career. He'll be lucky to get a job at McDonald's. So I do respect that James is taking this big risk to become co-CEO of DC Studios. Now, it's very interesting. James Cameron wanted to write and direct Titanic. It was his, dream project and he wanted to make it. Now, James Gunn always agreed to write a Superman movie, but he took his time to agree to direct it. He took a lot of prodding from Peter Safran, his co-CEO at DC Studios, his working partner. He wasn't sure if he was going to direct it. I always find this very, very interesting. He justified this by saying, it's a big decision to, spend 2.5 years on a project. And let's be honest about it. Superman Legacy isn't James Gunn's dream project. Superman isn't his dream character. James Gunn is a man who likes the underdog. There's no question about that. You're going to see that a lot in this new DC universe if Superman Legacy is successful. You're going to see a lot of smaller characters, maybe like Plastic Man. Plastic Man's actually a very interesting character if you read him. He's an underdog, a big underdog, He started off as a bit of a villain that, Batman used to bail out all the time. You see that in the animation, Batman the Brave and the Bold. Maybe you'll see that in Brave and the Bold in the movie. Because I think if Brave and the Bold, the Batman film they're developing for DC Universe, is anything like the animated series, we got something special to come. And maybe Plastic Man will play a big part in that movie. Be interesting. Let's see what happens. So, just because you hear the name Plastic Man, don't think Plastic Man is a joke. He has a very interesting backstory. Go and research it for yourselves. Anyway, moving away from Superman Legacy, James Gunn did respond to questions about Margot Robbie's future as Harley Quinn. Now, Margot was talking about her future as Harley Quinn and not talking about it. She was asked about her future as Harley. Would she be returning anytime soon? And she diverted the answer to Lady Gaga as Harley, saying, she's very happy for other actors to portray Harley. So she didn't really answer the question. Because here's the truth, Margot Robbie doesn't even know if she'll ever play Harley again. So James Gunn responded to this question saying he hadn't spoken to Margot for a very long time. I don't believe he's spoken to Margot since the Suicide Squad promotional tour. That's my opinion. He said he's happy to discuss with her reprising her role as Harley Quinn or playing a new character. That, my friends, is the red flag if you're a Margot Robbie Harley Quinn fan. Because when he announced that Henry Cavill would no longer be playing Superman, he said he had discussions with Henry about playing a different character in DC Universe. Now, maybe that will happen, maybe that won't happen. I believe that's code from James Gunn that don't expect to see this actor in our universe anytime soon. So I don't expect to see Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn anytime soon. He said he's not going to recast the role either. But we know that Lady Gaga this year will play Harley Quinn. I believe James Gunn is doing a smart thing. I think they all want to see how Lady Gaga is perceived as Harley in Joker Folie à Deux. And maybe if she's popular, she can transfer over to DC Universe. Now, I know, personally on the quiet, that James Gunn wanted Robert Pattinson's Batman and the Matt Reeves universe to migrate over to DC Universe, but Matt was having none of it. And they had to respect that on Matt Wood Wall. We already know that. And I respect that as well. And I think we need these Elseworld movies like, you know, the Batman universe and the Joker or the DC Black Label universe. I think it's important to have something that's different, right, away from DC universe. I think, you know, having kind of this Elseworlds kind of banner is also very, very important. But so maybe he's come to some arrangement with Todd Phillips. Maybe Todd Phillips is done after Joker Folie à Deux. I don't believe that's the case. Let's not forget that Todd Phillips was approached before James Gunn to become CEO of DC Studios. Smartly, Todd said no, he didn't want to do it. Very difficult job. As I said earlier, James Gunn is taking a big risk, taking up this position and writing and directing Superman Legacy. Because when he first agreed to write a Superman film, there wasn't much pressure on it. There's always pressure on a Superman film. But he wasn't in charge of DC, and it wasn't going to make or break the future of DC. Now, Superman Legacy is in this big position of either making or breaking the future of DC. So maybe they're waiting to see what happens with Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn before they make a decision. But as I said yesterday, we still don't have any clarification about Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. And this is the most interesting one for me because it's weird. Because I just don't understand what's happening with that. We know who's playing Superman. We know there's going to be a new Batman. We know there's going to be new versions. We don't have any clarification of who's going to be playing the Flash if they're bringing back Ezra. Unlikely they bring back Ezra, but who knows in this environment today. But we know. Look, we know. I said at the end of yesterday's video, very soon, Jason Momoa will be announced as Lobo. I told you before they would wait until the run of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom was done, until it was impossible for it to make any more money, then they would announce, you know, Jason Momoa as Lobo. Either they're going to wait till the physical media and all of that hype to be done, but I don't believe they're going to wait that long. So I think sooner rather than later, that's going to happen. Jason Momoa is absolutely playing Lobo. Jason Momoa wants you to know that. James Gunn wants you to know that. They've been hinting. Now, Jason Momoa said during the press run of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom that he hadn't been approached to play Lobo. I think he's lying. I don't believe that for 1 minute. I believe he's always been playing Lobo in DC Universe. I've always believed that's going to happen. You know, Peter Safran saying he's always going to have a big future with DC and WB. So they really like Jason because Jason's been very, very clever. He's played the game, but he's also defended Zack in the right way, which hasn't, I mean, there was that whole kind of, what was that, Frosty thing, where they lied that he was going to be in a Frosty the Snowman animated movie during all that kind of polarization of release the Snyder Cut and all of that. And Jason did come out and say, I am in no Frosty movie. Where's that Frosty movie? Did it even happen? I have no fucking idea. Comments down below. Let me know. But yeah, Jason Momoa is definitely playing Lobo. It's going to be announced. We all know it. It's the worst kept secret. Will he be in Superman Legacy? Look, Lobo is a very interesting anti-hero. James Gunn loves anti-heroes, as we already know. So Lobo is perfect. He's a bounty hunter. He ain't good. He ain't totally bad. But he does stray that moral line, as a lot of James Gunn characters have done. In the Suicide Squad, in Peacemaker, he's developing an authority movie as well. And the Authority are really a mix between the elite and the Authority. It's that kind of unethical superhero group. So that's going to be a very kind of Watchmen-y, if you like. Kind of Watchmen-y, but not totally like the Watchmen. So that's going to be a very interesting group as well. So this is why I'm open to what James Gunn is doing, because despite me being disgusted by the treatment of Zack Snyder and Henry Cavill and others in the way Ray and everyone else was treated by Joss Whedon on the Justice League reshoots, that I'm a DC fan. And I am excited to see what James Gunn can do. because he is capable and he is talented. That doesn't guarantee anything, but it does make me excited. So let's see what the future holds for DC.